what you're saying. Nani? Get out my business, okay?
Hey, how you guys doing? My name's Heero. That's Eric. We're the amalgamation of the Identity Booth, and today we're going to be talking about really something that should have that if you had told me this 22 years ago, I would have been like, we're still fighting this war. We're still fighting. We're like, there's a second Vietnam. There's a longer Vietnam.
Yeah.
Shit, we're fucked. Like, damn, we're fucked. What we're talking about is the U.S. Slow but sure. Oh wait, yeah, I guess it is Nafi's turn. We forgot about Nafi. Nafi, after this story, Nafi got you next. We smooth forgot and I skipped over her ass. This is a request by the people. We gotta answer the people. What we're gonna be talking about for just a minute here is the simple fact of, okay, there's a lot to cover here and there's a lot of nuance here. There's a lot of, like, within the country and within the culture, within the nationality, things that you would have to understand. Like, if you're looking at this from a red and blue perspective, you're already fucked. Because you want to point at somebody. When the truth is, as a collective force, when 9/11 happened, 70% of the American population was like, fuck them. There was only one person in the congressional building who voted against going to war. And her career was ended effective immediately the next day. Rudy Giuliani, the melting snowman himself, was a prized possession of New York. He was the embodiment of patriotism and joining together. New York strong was his slogan. So, like, if you're looking at this from this is Trump's fault, go fuck yourself. We are all responsible for this. This is our unfiltered, undesirable way of saying we just like to fight. We're a violent bunch of people. We're a violent group of people in this country. And we will fuck with anybody. Just think about the response. 9/11, 345 people were killed that day on that plane. And then throughout the day, an additional 400. So I'll say around 3,000 people. Let's just give it 3,000 people because we got the people who got the lung cancer. We got the people that got the heart damage and all that stuff. We'll give it all that. 3,000 people. Yo, COVID is out of the window right now. We threw bombs on a fucking place. We've killed more people in the war than we could have ever equated for. And what has that brought us? What has all that violence and anguish brought us? Trillions of dollars in debt. No sign of ending. Our two biggest rivals sitting down and laughing at us for keeping up this fight, almost as if it was a dick measuring contest. Like, I bet you they're going to keep trying. I bet you're going to keep trying. Do you honestly believe this happened in World War II? History repeats itself. You don't think after a while of them shooting each other and then look over and say, I still got to live next to this motherfucker. So I might as well make bread with this dude who I got to stay with versus the dude from across the pond. You ain't going to tell me that a bunch of brown people who have been mistreated for generations. There are kids who watched their parents die in an airstrike, grew up to become terrorists themselves, died in that terrorist, and there's literally been 3 generations, 22 years of kids and adults fighting the U.S. Armed Forces. And you think a brown person who's sitting next to another brown person is going to pick the white dude over him? White dude left him, straight up. Left him. This is a war of nonsense. It's always been a war of nonsense. I literally had to buy an electric car to justify this war being ended, because maybe if I don't buy something that takes up oil, we'll fucking leave. Eric, can you tell us why we were over there?
So, Afghanistan. All right, man. Listen, if y'all would want a quick history lesson. So, Russia, Ukraine, and Afghanistan all had a little situation going on back in the 80s. And Afghanistan has two natural resources that America has always liked, and that's opium to make heroin and petroleum to make oil. The dollar is backed up by oil. And the way that these politicians enrich themselves is with drugs. So we go over there, we build an army. Everybody knows who Osama bin Laden is. Osama bin Laden was trained by the United States military. Fast forward to 2000, we got to blame somebody. So we blame the Taliban.
Yeah.
Because we had a problem with the Taliban. Taliban won't let us come over there and have these resources, won't let us come in and bring the imperialism and liberalism. So we make them out to be our enemy. That not going to go any further into that talking point on that end. So today, what happens? We go, we occupy, we been there, and we been real sloppy. I was listening to somebody named Matt Zeller on MSDNC, and he was just talking about how he has a consulting firm that was telling the government for years, hey, this is how you need to exit. They have a list of people, the government does, and all of these people that are over there, they said it's like 58,000 people, and they know who these people are, and they could have gotten them out, and they chose not to. This is a big, fat foobar for the Biden administration. Now, to Biden's credit, did we need to get out of Afghanistan? Absolutely. But if you go over there and you destroy somebody's country, listen, my grandmother said, if you go stay at somebody's house, you better leave it better than it was when you got there.
And I think that's and to the idea of notion, there's no situation. Biden actually speaks on this, and he does give a few speeches. So I'll probably snap click and you'll hear the speech. But basically what he's saying is true. There is no right way of doing this because we were never meant to be there in the first place. The farce was weapons.
There's a right way. There's definitely a right way.
There's no way.
We didn't leave their house better. We didn't leave it better than when we found it.
But I'm saying is, if we had no business being there in the beginning, then there was never be a right way because we went there off of false pretenses. The word of action was weapons of mass destruction. We knew as a government that there was no weapons of mass destruction there. And we still went. So there's no way we could leave that situation in a better state because we never belonged there in the first place. That's my point. Like, that's like me rolling up to say, "Dang, bro, you need a kidney transplant." But you know what? Why don't we take that liver too? Let's get you a 2-for-1. Whoa. I just need the kidneys, my guy. So with that in mind, I then want to turn our direction to, like, okay, we know why we're there. We know what brought us here. Why was it so hard for us to leave? Like, do you think that, like, the plan here was for us to somehow, some way beat freedom into them? Like, just keep punishing them and keep bombing them and keep hoping that fucking McDonald's was going to work. Eric, do you know the easiest way to get someone to become submissive to you?
Starve them.
That's what that
guy
bar
said.
rescue savior bar. The answer is to love them. Make them love you. In all my years of working with the Texas Rangers, I never once saw anyone get physically abused. You know what I used to bring for the prisoners in order to get them to tell me stories about crime cases that they would talk to no one else about? Cheesecake and Hustlers.
Oh boy.
Raspberry. Extra raspberries on the side. Don't you dare forget it. And you better bring a real fork. It's easy to get people to respond to you when they don't feel forced to. And we just really tried to force America down the Middle East. Biden said it in his speech. This is the land of empire killers. They have outlasted every force that has been thrown at them from biblical proportions, my guy. Like biblical proportions, this place has outlasted them.
Fire and brimstone fell on this place. And it picked itself up from the rubble.
You think America's apple pie is going to fix this situation? Go fuck yourself, man. We were out of our depth. We were out of our league for thinking this shit was gonna, like, we really, and this is the thing that's kind of crazy. We left them perfectly trained soldiers, 300,000 of them. 300,000 of them, and there was nowhere for them to go. They only fired 14 bullets in retaliation to the Taliban takeover. The Taliban didn't even respond back. They said, okay, get it out your system. And what they ended up doing? They ended up lining back up with their brothers. Because I'm not about to be fighting the dude that's living next to me.
Yeah. So, Hero, we got a question down here in the comment section from Hala Madrid. What was the goal of us invading Afghanistan in 2001? So, just to put in context what Hero and I are talking about, we had no legitimate reason whatsoever. The planes that were flown into the buildings were alleged to be flown by members of the Taliban. How convenient. I mean, truly, how convenient. And then we go into this place, and I'm going to tell you this. Before 2001, Afghanistan produced less than 10% of the world's opium poppy for heroin. After 2001, 95%. You tell me what we were there for. Then and you can go Google this stuff. This is all stuff you can Google. Then you talk about the oil. You go and look up the oil. The oil is the only commodity that gives the dollar any value. If you can go look on a price chart of the dollar and put it side by side with oil and go back to 2001 and look at it, you're going to see they fluctuate. They move together. They are tied at the hip. So that's what I'm saying. You got to understand that this is business. The United States is a corporation. They conduct business. Everything that they do is well thought out. So again, to today, I told Heero, guess what happened to the value of the dollar today after we withdraw from Afghanistan? It shot up. And the Afghani currency went down. So I'm saying, like, all this is global business that you're watching. There's honestly no point. The American government murdered innocent people, gave no Fs at all, and honestly just had to do it because they wanted natural resources, not paying attention. And again, why are we surprised? We see this happen in America. There's plenty of pockets of places like this in America, and we're surprised that the American government won't do anything to shore up its financial position and to move imperialism everywhere, including on its own citizenry. Not sure where you're from, Hala Madrid, but I'm saying.
And to the point, and just the closing part of this is now what happens to Afghanistan, right? This might be me being overly optimistic. This might be me like looking at this super like superficial. But if I didn't know any better, the fact that the Taliban had no immediate response to the takeover, the fact that the government and the military cohesively said, all right, we're good, and all the politicians left and said, it's all yours, it's almost to say that it's a passing of the torch. They have a military now. They have an air force now. The Taliban has an air force now because they have fucking all of our equipment that was left there. And they haven't stopped any evacuations. Almost to say, if you don't want to be here, leave. But I will say this. For them to come out with a spokesperson for the first time in years to say, hey, we're not going to be out here saying you got to put on the burqas. We just ask that you respect the culture in the land, which is to wear a headdress there. That's literally the standard in Dubai, in places in Dubai. That's literally the standard. We accept that. Hey, we're not out here slaughtering the people we capture. Yeah. We're not invading houses. Now, once again, we're believing what the Taliban says, but also to the extension, all the Taliban has ever wanted was them to be left alone. So for this to be a measured response from a bunch of people who used to cut heads off 20 years ago, dare I say progress? But nothing is without reproach. I definitely have concerns for the people in the country. I have concerns for the people. Things the Taliban could immediately turn heel the moment the last plane leaves.
I don't think so.
And that's all to be determined.
Don't believe it.
That's all to be determined. But ultimately, we left them nothing to miss about America. Nothing to miss about America. The people who want to get out, hopefully they could get out. There's very daunting videos of people clinging onto aircrafts as they take off, and that's really shell shock worthy. But ultimately, I really see Afghanistan and that part of the country as a mystery to America still, because America has never benefited and never really took the time to understand people who are different from them. America just doesn't relate to people of color, like on that level. America
doesn't relate to anybody who doesn't have money.
And if you don't have money and can't fight for defend yourself, that's a big key factor there. But I mean, these are our thoughts, these are our ideas on it. We definitely have some people who are interested in hearing more about it. Hopefully you guys stick around for the rest of the show. We talk about a lot more interesting, not more interesting, but a lot more interesting. I said literally the same thing I just said again. We talk about a lot of interesting stuff, so stick around. But Eric, for the meantime and in between time, where can you find us?
Right here on Twitch. This is where we live. Hey man, make sure we're on every platform. I mean, we're not on YouTube for another 6 days because they gave us a strike. So screw YouTube. But yeah, you can find us right here on Twitch, man. There's a donate button below. If you like what you see, hey, do that. If not, give somebody a sub, man. Give the sub. We'll greatly appreciate it. Hey, make sure you go ahead and hit that heart, hit that bell, hit that subscribe. Make sure you go ahead and do that for us, man. We greatly appreciate it. And then also, man, go over to Facebook. Show us some love on Facebook. We only need 10,000 followers on Facebook before we can actually do anything of significance over there. So, yeah, just do that. Or you could just rock with us right here on Twitch.
Come through.
We can catch the vibes, but it's so hard to find through the daily grind. Been working overtime, and I'm sleep deprived. Shorty on my line, and we fuss and fight. Seems like every night. Don't care who's wrong or right. I hope the end is sight. Slow it down and we can catch the vibes.